Adam Silver has found himself in some serious hot water over the management of the WNBA, and is they faking ratings? I don't know, but we finna talk about it.
Adam Silver probably thought he was just setting the record straight, but instead, he poured gasoline on the fire. His latest remarks about Caitlin Clark didn't just stir the pot, they sent shockwaves through the entire WNBA community. Fans, players, and analysts are all looking sideways at league leadership right now. And with the backlash growing by the hour, it's starting to look like Silver wishes he'd kept quiet. Because let's be real, did he just accidentally expose the WNBA's biggest problem? Every time it feels like the league's drama is finally cooling down, someone in a suit jumps in and reignites it. Only this time, it's not Cathy Engelbert in the hot seat. It's her boss, NBA Commissioner Adam Silver.
Silver himself has chimed in and addressed the situation directly, saying, Cathy Engelbert has presided over historic growth in the league, but there's no question that there's issues that we need to address with our players, not just economic, there's relationship issues as well. I'm confident we can fix those over time, and this league can continue to be on the rocket trajectory.
All right, let's be honest. Adam Silver probably didn't mean to stir up chaos. But what he said during that NBC interview last week? Yeah, that clip exploded online faster than Ajar Wilson draining free throws. Let's back it up for a second. Silver sat down for what was supposed to be your typical safe, polished PR chat. A little talk about leadership, a little about league growth, nothing too deep. But the moment he brought up Caitlin Clark and the WNBA, everything went downhill fast. He claimed the league's issues weren't really about money, but more about relationships. Sounds innocent enough until you realize what that actually means. In plain English, he just admitted the league is falling apart from the inside out.
I would love for Adam, since we're a brother-sister league, to go to some of the CBA negotiations, sit in the room, hear what the women have to say, hear some of their concerns, and let's go from there. Let's build something.
I'm here to tell you that NBA leadership is very much abreast on what's happening in these CBA negotiations. She's not the only decision maker who is denied.
And honestly, the timing couldn't have been worse. The WNBA finals are in full swing. Nneka Ogwumike is calling out Cathy Engelbert live on national TV, and somehow Caitlin Clark's name keeps getting dragged into every single conversation. Then here comes Adam Silver, stepping in like a confused parent, trying to break up a fight between kids he barely knows. He probably thought he was calming things down, but instead, he proved exactly what players have been saying for months. The NBA cares more about appearances than the actual women's game. Silver tried to praise Cathy, talking about historic growth under her leadership. Sounds nice, right? But seconds later, he admitted there's a massive disconnect between the league's leadership and its players. So which is it, Adam? Success or dysfunction? Because from what we've seen, the WNBA isn't just growing, it's spiraling. Ogwumike's been calling out Engelbert for saying Caitlin should be grateful for her off-court earnings. Players are threatening a lockout, fans are furious about biased officiating. It's complete chaos. And Silver's interview didn't help. If anything, it made it sound like even he doesn't fully trust Cathy anymore. He called the situation unfortunate, which, let's be real, is billionaire speak for this is a disaster. Then came the ratings talk, and that's where everything really went south. Silver bragged that the WNBA was on a yawa rocket trajectory moment, like everything was perfect. But in the same week, reports dropped showing that the finals viewership numbers looked suspiciously inflated. Nielsen suddenly changed how they count out-of-home viewing, like bars, airports, and hotel TVs, conveniently boosting this year's numbers for the first time ever. So yeah, the ratings look bigger on paper, but fans are asking, is the league actually growing? Or did someone just move the goalposts? Social media wasn't having it. One fan said, "These ratings look faker than the Aces foul calls." Another wrote, "They're cooking the stats just to downplay Caitlin's impact." And honestly, they might be right, because let's not sugarcoat it. Without Caitlin Clark, those so-called historic ratings never happen. She carried this league from the start. Packed arenas, national headlines, sold-out merch, new fans. She's the reason people even know who Cathy Engelbert is. Now that Caitlin's injured, it feels like they're already trying to pretend she doesn't matter. That's what really lit the fire. Silver tried to sound diplomatic, but the more he talked about relationship building, and collective bargaining. The more obvious it became, he was just covering for Engelbert while brushing off Caitlyn's influence. And of course, the internet did its thing. Within hours, Adam Silver regrets was trending. Fans roasted him for treating the WNBA like a side project. Others accused him of protecting Kathy's job because, let's be honest, if she goes down, it reflects badly on him too. After all, Kathy works for Adam, and when your boss has to go on national TV to defend your leadership, that's never a good sign.
Interesting were the amount of players that came to the defense of Fee and the crickets that came to the defense of Kathy for me.
I mean, this is an important part. Like, this is an important time with the CBA negotiations. Like, the players, when you look at leagues around the world, like, it is about caring for your athletes, caring for the players. And that's just not the feelings right now. And I think everyone is kind of just, they rallied around Fee because, one, that was a powerful statement to make. And obviously it puts pressure on Kathy and put pressure on the leadership. But I mean, it was a lot. It was a heavy hitter, right, Oz?
Meanwhile, the players are reaching their breaking point. Sophie Cunningham even dropped a subtle warning, basically saying they're not stepping back on the court until they get the respect and pay they've earned. And let's be real, that's not just talk. If these CBA negotiations go sideways, there might not even be a 2026 season. At the end of the day, it all comes down to one thing: leadership, or better yet, the complete absence of it. Kathy Engelbert's nowhere to be seen, Adam Silver's out here giving interviews that only make things more confusing, and the players? They're airing their frustrations through Instagram stories like it's some group chat gone wrong. This isn't leadership, it's chaos, just dressed up in suits and logos.
Very personal, because the WNBA wants to forbid us to make a lot of more money than we're ever going to make here, what it seems like in other leagues. So it's very personal. People have families, this is our job. We make more money in China, Russia, Turkey than here. So it is very personal, and I don't think why it shouldn't become personal.
And just when things couldn't get any worse, fans started pointing out the massive double standard between how Adam Silver treats NBA players and how WNBA players get treated. Candace Parker basically confirmed it herself on her podcast, saying that Silver personally texted her when she retired, congratulated her when she signed her TV deal, and even sent her Christmas gifts after she had her baby. You know who didn't reach out? Kathy Engelbert. Candace didn't sugarcoat it either. She said flat out, "I get more love from Adam Silver than my own commissioner." That line sent WNBA Twitter into meltdown because it summed up everything. The issue isn't just about money, it's about connection. Players don't feel valued, they don't feel heard, and now Adam Silver's comments only made that divide even clearer. He tried to sound supportive, but by admitting there were relationship issues, he basically said the quiet part out loud. The players don't trust league leadership, and that's not something you can spin into a positive headline, especially when your biggest star, Caitlin Clark, is stuck in the middle of all this mess. To top it off, people are now questioning whether the WNBA's so-called record growth is even real or just smoke and mirrors to cover poor management. This is the same league that won't mic up players for live games, but somehow claims massive ratings out of nowhere. Sure, that checks out. One analyst summed it up perfectly. The WNBA's problem isn't popularity, it's leadership pretending popularity solves everything. Facts. Because no amount of numbers can fix locker room drama, bad officiating, or disconnected executives. Caitlin Clark never asked to be part of this circus. She just wanted to hoop. But now she's caught in the middle of the league's biggest internal storm, and Adam Silver accidentally made it worse by trying to explain it all in public. To be fair, Adam Silver's not the villain here. He's one of the most respected commissioners in sports. But even good intentions can explode fast, and this one absolutely did. Now fans are saying, if the NBA really runs the WNBA, then it's time for Silver to fix it, not just talk about it. Because you can't brag about growth when your players are out here calling your commissioner a ghost.
Interesting were the amount of players that came to the defense of Fee and the crickets that came to the defense of Kathy for me. Adam Silver is Kathy's boss. and he is the commissioner of the NBA. I signed a deal with Amazon to broadcast for Amazon. I got a text from Adam Silver saying congratulations. I had my third child. I got a text from Adam Silver about my third child. Now, whether this is Adam or his assistant, somebody from the league office is reaching out to me. I got a baby gift for my third child. I get a Christmas gift from Adam Silver every year. I retired. Adam Silver sent me a text message that basically congratulated me on my career and how much I've done for the women's game, and he looked forward to how much I'm gonna do from the sideline. I have not heard from Kathy. I saw Kathy in Phoenix after I had been retired for 4 months at Phoenix All-Star Game, and she said congratulations in person. And that was the only time. And so you've heard other players, Sabrina Ionescu alluded to this, I have a better relationship with Adam Silver than I do Kathy. My 2 jersey retirements, there was no Kathy.
Yeah.
So I think that Adam Silver understands the process. I don't know if he understood that Kathy was not doing that.
Even Candace Parker, one of the most respected voices in basketball, couldn't hold back. She said, "I've heard more from Adam Silver about my career than from Kathy Engelbert. That's brutal. And honestly, she's not wrong. Things have gotten so bad that whispers are already circling that Kathy's job might actually be in danger. At this point, if Adam Silver wants to save face, he might have no choice but to make a change, because fans are fed up, players are angry, and every new statement from league officials just digs the hole deeper." Silver probably thought he was delivering a calm, measured take on communication and relationships. Instead, he walked straight into a PR nightmare. That's what happens when you underestimate how powerful Caitlin Clark's fan base really is. You can't say anything that sounds even slightly dismissive about her without the internet catching fire. And right now, Adam's definitely feeling the heat. The backlash was instant. The moment those clips hit social media, fans went nuclear. Twitter, Instagram, Reddit, you name it. People were roasting him non-stop. One top comment under ESPN's post nailed it perfectly. Adam Silver sounds like a guy who just realized Caitlin Clark runs the league more than the commissioner does. That one blew up in hours. Fans weren't angry because he mentioned relationship issues. They were angry because it took this long for anyone in power to even admit it. And when Silver finally did, it sounded more like damage control than honesty. The WNBA has been on edge all season. Caitlin Clark became the face of the sport, ticket sales skyrocketed, merchandise flew off the shelves, and somehow the league kept finding new ways to embarrass itself. Terrible officiating, tone-deaf leadership, players publicly dragging their own commissioner. And then, in the middle of all that, Adam Silver strolls in like he's about to save the day. Instead, he just reminded everyone how disconnected the people running the league really are. One fan summed it up perfectly. How is the NBA commissioner more involved in WNBA players' lives than the WNBA commissioner herself? That one stung, because it's true. When Candace Parker and other vets openly say they've heard more from Silver than from Kathy Engelbert, it's not about money anymore. It's about leadership, or the complete lack of it. The irony? Silver didn't even say anything offensive. He wasn't taking shots at Caitlin or the players. He was trying to be diplomatic. But when tensions are already sky high, diplomacy just sounds fake. Fans heard relationship issues and went, "Oh, so you're finally admitting it." Players heard, "We'll get a deal done," and rolled their eyes like, "Sure," after another 3-hour meeting that fixes nothing. Silver's mistake wasn't in what he said, it was when he said it. The league's already on fire. Nika Ogwumike just called out Kathy publicly. Caitlin's still rehabbing. Rumors of a lockout are spreading like wildfire. And then Adam comes in talking about rocket trajectory growth. Like, bro, read the room. You can't talk about liftoff when the ship's literally burning. The more Adam Silver talked, the more fans noticed. He was starting to sound just like Kathy Engelbert. Calm, polished, professional, but completely detached from what's actually happening. And that's the last thing he needed, because the second people start lumping him in with Kathy, it's game over. Let's be honest, Silver's probably kicking himself right now. He knows diving this deep into WNBA drama while the situation's still unraveling was a bad move. But what choice did he really have? He's the face of basketball. He couldn't just ignore the chaos, especially with the ratings controversy blowing up. He had to address it. Now here's where things get messy. Those so-called record-breaking finals ratings. The WNBA was quick to celebrate massive viewership numbers, claiming double-digit growth and millions of new fans. Sounds great, right? Until you look closer. Because it turns out, the way those ratings are counted quietly changed this year. Nielsen started including out-of-home viewership, meaning bars, airports, hotel TVs, and restaurants are now part of the count. And, surprise, surprise, those adjustments suddenly made this year's numbers look historic. Sure, it's technically legitimate, but it's also wildly misleading. You can't compare 2025's inflated data, which includes every random screen in America, to 2023's clean numbers that didn't. That's like saying you doubled your audience just because you started counting your cousin's TV too. And of course, Caitlin Clark's name popped up again because it always does. The moment fans spotted the data shift, theories exploded. People started saying the league was inflating the numbers to make it look like they don't need Caitlin anymore. And that's the irony. The harder the WNBA tries to prove it's not dependent on her, the more obvious it becomes that it is. When ratings go up, it's the Caitlin effect. When they drop, the league says, we need to expand beyond Caitlin. She's the centerpiece of every storyline, even when she's not playing. So when Adam Silver came out saying the league's growth was historic, it only poured fuel on the fire. Fans began speculating that the numbers were being boosted to keep investors happy, especially with that massive $2.2 billion media rights deal on the horizon. And the timing? Conveniently perfect, right before the next CBA talks. That's why fans aren't buying it. And when Silver tried to balance his comments, praising Kathy while admitting there were relationship issues, he basically confirmed what everyone suspected. The problems behind the scenes are even worse than they look. Then came the players' reactions. Cryptic posts started flooding social media. No names, no direct shots, but everyone knew who they were aimed at. One said, "You can't fix relationship issues when one side won't even talk." Another read, "Stop celebrating growth when we're still fighting to be heard." That kind of frustration can't be covered up with a press release. And that's where the regret kicks in. Adam Silver probably thought he was helping, trying to bridge the gap to show progress was being made. But instead, he ended up confirming the players' worst fear, that leadership at the top is completely out of touch. Because when your players say they don't feel heard and your commissioner responds with, "We'll work on relationships," that's not leadership, that's damage control. Fans saw right through it. Even NBA fans joined the conversation, joking, "Adam's got his hands full. WNBA's burning. The NBA's dealing with LeBron versus Bronny, and the refs are losing. The man needs a vacation." And honestly, they're not wrong. Silver's juggling too much. But this is what happens when you ignore a mess for too long. He let the tension between Kathy and the players simmer, assuming it would somehow fix itself. Now, it's all blowing up. In headlines, in backlash, and in fan distrust. So the question is, did Adam Silver just reveal how broken the WNBA's leadership really is? Or did he make the whole situation even worse? Either way, one thing's crystal clear. The league's biggest problem isn't on the court. It's at the top.